Jeff Ferrule on Hat Homestead. This video is about this box. Let's take a look at this box. Thanks for tuning in, Jeff Ferrule on the Hat Homestead. In this video, we're going to open up this magical secrets box. It's actually very cool. If you are doing any kind of wire connecting, you're working on your solar setup, you're working on just any other wiring, you want this. Because this is a dream. And it's in a nice box. So, let's take a look at what's inside. Check out what's in this box, guys. Cool case. And you read that? I can't even pronounce it. Haisstronica. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Pronounce it any way you want. But this is a must-have. Especially if you're dealing with any kind of electronics. Especially if you're putting together an off-grid system like solar and doing all that. But check this out. Look at this. Look what's inside this. Now there's a couple that looks like it's missing. And that's because one of them is already in there. And the options that you have is for a case with a couple of extras. But when I look at this here, it tells me kind of what each one has. So this is a good piece of document to keep, so you know what kind of connectors that you're putting together. So if you're using this, you want to have this type here, and then you just look to see which one that one is. But it's actually really cool. See, it looks like this one is on the device right now. Then I'll change it to like, I don't know, maybe this one, and then I'll clamp it for you, and I'll show you here towards the end of the video. Even tells you how to take these guys off. There's buttons there that you press both sides to reduce the jaws, etc. So very nice. And then this thing here is your stripper. So this thing is cool because you stick your wire in through there, and I'll show you this as well. But you stick your wire in there. This is kind of an adjustment. You stick your wire in there, and then it will strip your wire for you. See how cool that grips onto the wire, and then that cuts the wire and strips it off. Pretty cool. And then you can cut your wire, and then you've even got these guys here that can also crimp down your stuff. It tells you right there on the end, on the handle there, you know what all it can do. The wire cutter, and it tells you the wire crimper for 20 to 10 gauge, and then some of the other stuff that's on there. Pretty cool. Good coloring. Oh, it even tells you on the back side too. And like I said, I'll show you some of the stuff in action. Looks like right here is where you press to release the stuff. See, so it's kind of a ratcheting thing. That way you can get as tight as you can. Now I really like these because I've already used it on some of my wiring. And get this, what I like about it is you can, like, for an example, you might take this on a table on some really big wire and you really want to get it down, and maybe your strength isn't good. You can rest the handle here, and as you press, now you can press down, and as you're pressing down, if you need to use extra leverage, you can even go like say and continue to press down. So it's not just a wrist thing. You can, you know, obviously do the tool, but I kind of was using this on a few of them to where I would make sure that it's a good tight connection. Now it looks like that. Press this, just slides right off. Look at that. Look at that. Just slides right off. Yeah, press it though to open it back up so you can get it back in there. pretty cool stuff. But like a lot for the DC wiring, using these ferrules here, these are really nice wire terminal ends for DC wiring. I really like those, especially when you just got to plug it into something instead of doing the bare wire. So, but yeah, let me go grab something and I'll show you how it all works. Alright, so I've got some 10 gauge, and I think we're going to use that one there, which is that. And it's that because that one doesn't have any coating on it at all, and that one does. So on that one is... Alright, so when you're looking at these, they're not like in order. There is numbers on these, like this one was H1, and when you took it out of here, it actually said it actually tells you it's H1. So H1 goes right there. So, but you can't really tell which one's H1 here until you actually start to put them together, and it looks like H1 is that first one. So the one I want is that one, and that one looks like it is this. Doesn't that kind of look the same? So that is what, H5. So I probably want to write down the H numbers on here. That would be kind of nice if this had it, so that it would be a little easier to match up. So we're going to put these in there. So check this out. I want to start writing those H numbers on here. Oh, the pen, the ink was a little bit. But if I look actually close enough, I don't know if it will zoom in right, but you can see the H1 on there. So I guess you don't have to write it on there because it's already on there, but I went ahead and did so. And then I smudged that one a little bit. But it is actually right there. I don't know if it'll come out in the camera, but it is on there. Just, it's hard to see. Now, I guess it's important which one is what, right? So I took out the colored one first. So we're going to put the colored one in here. I guess it also matters if I turn it in this way or this way, huh? Man, I gotta make sure I remember how to take these out of here. So on the back side is where the colors go, I guess. And this is, no wait, that's the front side is where the colors go. And there's numbers on there. And then this is the back side. So let's take this one off. And they're both sides are numbered, so I can't get these mixed up because they're all numbered. That's H1, that's H5, now it says H1. So even if you got them mixed up, you can't get them mixed up. But the numbers are going to go on that side there. Press that in so it opens it up and slides it in all the way. And now I'm ready to go. Now I'm assuming these here are kind of more or less your color codes. And with this one being yellow, I'm going to put it in this one here. There is some other information, like this is 0.15, 2.5, and what, 4 to 6 mm square. I'm assuming that has to do with wire size, which is maybe equivalent to like 10 to 12, because these are designed for 10/12s. So I'm going to use a 10. I could use a 12. A 14 gauge wire is too small for this, so I'd get a different one, which would probably be the blue one. And that's probably what they're doing here, is this MMs, or the millimeters, and that's probably the diameter of it. So instead of calling it a gauge, you're calling it millimeters. But we need this guy here first, so that's why it's nice to get the kit, right? So we're going to take this in here like say, and we're just going to cut it right about there. And then now I need to strip it. What this guy here does is you can actually adjust this accordingly so that depending on how long you want this wire to be cut, so you can adjust it. So depending on how long you want this wire to be cut, you can also just flip it down and stick it in. You know, if you want to cut like say or whatever. So if I want this wire cut like right, I want it to actually go right about there-ish. Right? So which means it would go to right about where that is. So that looks okay. And then, so then you just stick it in where you want it. And then, now I got it gripped on there. And that's all there is to it. Now this length, you can see is, I want it to stick through a little bit. See, I want it to look like that. I guess I could pull it back a hair, but I'm going to go right about there. And then this guy here, I don't know, would you want to stick it through this way or the other way? It looks like you probably, because when you look at this one here, this is kind of more flatter, and this one here has more, it's a little bit more curved. So that's what you want towards the end here, because that's where you want to get to your real connecting. This back side is going over here. So I want to stick it like say, and then I'm going to put this right on the edge there, and then I just want to make sure that I got a decent grip. See, this is where I can press it down here. I want to turn it a little bit so that it's kind of flat. You know, I don't want this to go in this way. I want it flat so that it's easier just to do it than trying to show you, stay in the camera angle. Now just so you know, I had crimped it in and it was too far over. To loosen it, all I did was on this lever here, I just pushed up on that lever and it loosened it for me. So if you end up getting too far in there, realize that this release lever back here, you'll be able to release it and then you'll be able to reposition it if you need to. Alright, now I'm comfortable with it. And see, I'm going to use the table. Watch this. Probably damaged the table, right? Look at that crimping. That looks really good. I don't know if I can get it much more, huh? And then the release. See the release, I just push up on it and you release it. And now you've got a nice crimp. You like my dog kind of singing to you guys in the background? He's got a rabbit in a large PVC pipe, so he's trying to get the rabbit out of the pipe. But yeah, and see how when this is here, you just press that and that opens it up. You can also, when it's like this, you can also go all the way and it does it too. dang, I love this thing. These, by the way, are so much better than your old-fashioned crimpers. Just because it's a ratchet, you've got these other fittings here that make it a perfect clamp for this. You know, instead of trying to guess on how to do your fittings, and this is just a perfect fit. Put that guy there, and you can throw him back over here. And then I'm going to keep this with this. I'm going to put the numbers on here, the H numbers. But outside of that, dude, nice little case. Keep with all your electronics, your wiring, your connectors. I love this thing. This is going to get a whole lot of usage. So, thanks for watching. Jeff, Arizona Hot Homestead. See ya. Bye. Have fun.